Well, good evening, everyone. Obviously, the heat and humidity are the big factors for us. We're sort of, at the end of winter, or rather, the end of spring, really, for us, and too early for the tropical storm season, which is okay. But we're sort of in the middle, and what happens in the middle? Severe weather in the Central Plains. Right about now, we're at 86. The clouds are sort of helping out. I'm pretty sure that we did get up to 90 today, but we'll have to correct that. And of course, the heat index made it feel like it was 97 to 98. So on the hot and humid side for us, the winds are not going to be a factor for about 2 days. Believe it or not, there's a little frontal system that's actually moving toward our area, and that is going to get into our region. Now, I don't want to call it a cool front. I'm going to call it a dry front, okay? Going to lower the humidities just a little bit. You see the humidity right about now in the 60s, 70%, of course 80% down along the water's edge. We widen up and you can see how it's absolutely bone dry to the west of this line here. That's the dry line right about there. We're talking 7% humidity out in Midland. And of course, this is where all the real heavy stuff is occurring. When you see the the difference between the very dry and the very humid, that's the focusing center for the big stuff, big severe weather. For us, because of that weak dry line that's coming in, it's going to drop our humidity a little bit for Tuesday and a little bit on Wednesday, but then as we get back to the weekend, we'll be back into the very humid categories with the heat indexes way up there. So strong sea breeze was today. Tomorrow that'll weaken. There's that little dry front that I'm telling you about. Behind it is some very dry air and some very strong winds that are basically following. This is a big storm coming out of the Rockies. Now, this is the center of that storm, but we've got a low here and then the collision of those two air masses that are causing those big problems up there. As a matter of fact, anywhere north of Denton North, well, it's going to be tough. Tonight, only getting down to 77, so, no cooling at all. You get up in the morning and it's just stifling. We're looking for a high temperature tomorrow of about 97 degrees with that somewhat drier air, but then the humidity will, sort of back off a little bit, but there's really no real big change in sight for us. Taking a look at the upper winds, here's that storm I was telling you coming out of the Rockies. There you see the high pressure over the Gulf and over our area. You see this orange line? That's really hot stuff. So you can say, okay, we're just on the edge of hot stuff, and it gets even hotter. What that is pressures, okay? This is a gradient of pressures, so when the higher pressure descends over the area, that's when the real hot stuff shows up. So take a look at your day planner for those of you in Port Lavaca, getting up to about 90 tomorrow with the wind not particularly bad, but partly cloudy. So it'll be, shall we say, slightly drier, not as windy, but still on the warm side. And then in Cuero, you're getting up to about 96. You see how the winds actually shift with that dry system? Not enough to really make a huge difference. It'll knock the temperature down to 90 by the time we get to Wednesday. Otherwise, temperatures get back up and humid weather and windy weather rolls back in for the weekend. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code